Alright, so we are about 6 months out from the biggest video game launch in the history of big video game launches. We are about 6 months out from the most anticipated video game in the history of anticipated video games, and that is one Grand Theft Auto 6. And even just saying that as it's coming out of my mouth, I'm like, boy, 6 months. It sure doesn't feel like we are going to be playing this game in 6 months. So that's the big question for today, for you all. For all of us here, we are predicting GTA 6, a bunch of different categories. I'll go ahead and pull that up for you all. So on your screen, we got a list of things that we're going to be running through and predicting. I would love to see your predictions for all of these in the comments down below. But the top of the totem pole is the release date. That's the thing everyone is curious about. That's the thing I am very, very curious about, because it does not feel like we're 6 months out from the release of Grand Theft Auto 6. However, if you will turn your attention to this screen here, we got Red Dead Redemption 2, the third trailer pulled up, which aired on May 2nd, 2018, and then the game came out on October 26th. 2018. So about 5 months out from the third trailer to the release date for Red Dead 2. And we are about 6 months out from the release of GTA 6. So as long as we get trailer 3 for GTA 6 dropping in December, I think we are going to be fine. I'm going with my heart here and not my brain. My brain is telling me sometime around October, November, September, somewhere in that fall period. That's kind of where my brain is going, but my heart is saying no delay. I'm praying to the good Lord above that we get that third trailer in December. Game comes out in May, and we're looking okay. We do have that Take-Two, the earning call that is taking place, I believe, tomorrow. I'm recording this on November 5th. I think that's taking place on the 6th. So maybe that's where we officially learn about the delay. But even a lot of the time at those earnings calls, you don't really hear the official delay announcement at the earnings call. It'll take place a month after, a couple months after. Like, I think that the last delay, there was an earnings call a couple months before it was officially announced. So anything can cause a delay. Any number of issues can pop up last minute that they're not aware of, or that they're not currently comfortable announcing at this time. So I'm not putting all of my faith in the earnings call, but of course it will be asked at that earnings call, is this thing going to get delayed? And at that point, I think they're going to say something like, we're pretty comfortable with we're pretty comfortable with Grand Theft Auto 6 in its current position to launch in May. Of course, anything can happen. It'll be the full spill, but I'm hoping that it hits that May release date. So going with my gut and not my brain on that one, gonna say no delay. But then we got to talk price, and this I don't really think is I think this is my gut, my brain, everything kind of aligning on this. I think it's going to be $70. I don't think that they're going to try to charge $80 or $100 for this thing. Of course, there will be additions. Like, you will be able to certainly walk into your local retailer and pay $150, $200 for the Ultra Standard Edition that comes with a poster, a map, and all the accoutrements and all the dumb shit that, I have no interest in whatsoever. But I think the standard price for the standard edition of this video game will be $70. I don't think they're going to they're going to make more money by charging $70 and keeping status quo with the other AAA lining up in sequence with the other AAA releases at that same price point, opposed to being like, well, Mario Kart launched at $80, so we're going to try to launch at $100. And I just think shit gets really, really messy at that point, and they're going to make so much money on the back end with the shark cards and all the shit they're going to sell to you for the GTA Online players. They're going to make so much more money off that. I don't think they're really even worried about the standard edition price point. I think they're going to launch it at what they launch all of their other standard edition games at. So $70 is what I'm predicting for the price point. I would actually be really, really shocked if it was $80, $100 or anything. I would be stunned if it was even $80, honestly. Next up, let's talk about the Metacritic score, because this is a franchise where all of their mainline games have cracked like 95 or better, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, this is an article coming to us from CBR.com, and they rank the Grand Theft Auto games based on their Metacritic. And so San Andreas was at a 95, Vice City was at a 95, GTA 5 was at a 97, GTA 3 was at a 97, and then GTA 4 was at a 98. So every single mainline entry is over a 95 on Metacritic, which is fucking staggering. There probably are other franchises like Zelda probably has a similar track record, but other than those two, man, there's really not much else that's in that territory of that's rarefied air, like very, very rarefied air to be breathing in. And yeah, the thing is, of course, there's a lot of staffing changes, and Dan Houser is no longer there and no longer writing Grand Theft Auto 6, and I don't think had any part in writing the game at all. So, of course, there are going to be worries on that front. Is the story going to hold up? But I kind of think that what they're positioning right now with the Bonnie and Clyde sort of romance angle, I think that's one of the more interesting angles that they have pursued in terms of their storytelling in general. Of course, execution, that is a totally different thing. We'll see if they can execute. But in terms of the idea, in terms of that sort of direction, it's very, very interesting. And I don't really have any doubt, like in terms of the game, in terms of its core design, I think it's going to be excellent it's going to be a well-made, polished video game. They're going to hire the best developers in the industry and pay them, very fucking well to work on a game of this caliber. So, I mean, it's going to be a really well-made game. I have no worry whatsoever of a cyberpunk situation of, one of the most anticipated products of all time, and it comes out and it's completely botched. They'll just continue to delay this thing for fucking ever until it's at a level that they deem satisfactory, a level that they deem worthy of releasing to the masses. And so I don't worry about some buggy launch. I think the only real concern I could see is online either being busted or the story not being that great. But really, my bigger concern, or the thing that I could see dinging this game quite a bit, is Metacritic. The site in general is just, there are some outlets on that platform that are Metacritic certified, allowed to submit their entries into Metacritic and actually be calculated and aggregated amongst other reputable sites, that I'm just like, who the hell are you guys? And I'm not saying that, listen, anybody who peruses through Metacritic has seen this time and time again. You'll scroll through reviews and you see a few sites that just are always kind of outliers, but it's consistently those few sites who are outliers in either negative or positive reviews. And it's just like, I don't know. I'm not saying you want to, make Metacritic this, you don't want to make it into a scenario where it's only the top 10 most trustworthy outlets, because at that point it gets a little bit into, you could definitely manipulate numbers more easily that way, and it gets a bit boys clubbish, and you don't really want that scenario either. But I don't know. That's kind of my number one. The thing that I am the most curious about is, are we going to see certain review sites who just they want to stand out? They want to be the one review site that gave this thing a 5 out of 10, a 6 out of 10, and then we start to see you see the score dwindle and depreciate because of a few outliers, opposed to the majority given 10s and 9s and kind of standard scores that you would expect for a Grand Theft Auto game. And obviously, Metacritic it's weighted to where companies like IGN and I think GameSpot have a little bit more pull. Their score is calculated times whatever, opposed to the other outlets. it's Metacritic is one of those sites that it's good to look at as just a quick, you know, you read the room, you go over there, you check the pulse, you check the temperature, see what it's looking like. But whenever you start to break it down, say, okay, this is a little bit sketchy. But I would say I'm predicting a 90. I don't think it's going to crack the 95s. I'm going to go 94 though. I'm going to say it hits that 94 range where you do definitely have some outlier sites who are just you're going to get that traffic by being the lowest Grand Theft Auto review on Metacritic, as people sort and they go from most negative to when you're scoring, or when you're sorting the reviews from lowest to highest, and you want to go and check out that site that gave a 4 out of 10, so they get some ad revenue for doing that. And I could see shit like that happening for GTA 6 to take the score down a little bit, but I don't think it'll be enough to really... It's going to review really damn well. So I'm going to say a 94. Now let's talk a little bit about the sales, the day one and year one sales for Grand Theft Auto 6. So GTA 5 launched it sold 11 million copies in its first day. There's definitely more of a pent-up demand for Grand Theft Auto 6, although, to be fair, GTA 5 launched into a totally different market where the PS3 and 360, I believe, they both had around 80 million. There were about 80 million PS3s, 80 million 360s in households in 2013. So, 160 million cumulative consoles that it was launching into. And then for the PS5 and Series X, or the Series consoles, you're looking at PlayStation is on track. Like PS5, there's about 80 million PS5s in households, and there's about 30 million or so Series consoles in households. So Xbox is about 50 million behind where it was when, GTA 5 launched. But I think that this thing is such a system seller that you might see an increase of... I don't think a ton of people are going to go out and buy, maybe a lot of people go out and buy a Series S for it, since it's just the cheapest way. It'll be the cheapest way to play GTA 6. But I think you'll see tens of millions of consoles sold for just this one game alone. So I actually think, despite it launching into a smaller install base, I think the attach rate is going to be a little bit higher. I'm going to say 14 million. Day one sales, because you got to keep in mind that you're talking about when GTA 5 came out, you're talking about 2013 to 2008, right? GTA 4 came out in 2008. GTA 5 came out in 2013. That's you're talking about a much longer... we've been waiting quite a bit longer than that for GTA 6 from 2013, and now we're in 2025, over a fucking decade later. So there is a real demand for Grand Theft Auto 6, and I think that demand will be... you'll see that in terms of unit sales on day one and year one as well. So... yeah, GTA 5 sold 32 million in the first year, so I'm going to go 38 million in year one sales for GTA 6. And that seems fair. 32 to 38. I think that, would that be the highest selling game ever in 1 year? Let's look that up. So I can't find a great year one tracker, but we have the top 10 fastest selling games of all time according to IGN. And so, GTA 5, number 1, Cyberpunk 2077, number 2, Modern Warfare 3, number 3, Red Dead 2, number 4, and so on and so forth. But so I think that this will outpace, if GTA 5 was the fastest selling game of all time, I think it will only be outpaced by Grand Theft Auto 6. But listen, man, with any big video game, it doesn't matter how good the game is, there is going to be a lot of bitching. There's no doubt about it. Go ahead and prepare. there's going to be a lot of complaining about this game. So what we're going to try to do now is figure out the top complaints. Like, what is going to be the main complaint that people have for Grand Theft Auto 6? And we talked about it a little bit earlier. Online is going to be number one. I think online is going to be completely fucking botched at launch. Like, if it even launches with online at all, and I guess you can kind of add that to the complaint as well. It might just be a scenario where online isn't available at launch, and maybe it takes a little bit longer for that to be available. But I kind of doubt that. That's their cash cow. I think they'll get that thing ready to go pretty quickly to milk the fuck out of the whales. But if it's 3 months later, I could see people being a little bit frustrated about that. I could also see it being too short for, I could see like one of the big complaints being we waited, we waited over a decade for a 20-hour main story, and people being pissed off that it's just not as long as GTA 5 and certainly not as long as Red Dead 2. But I'm kind of okay with, listen, I don't want to, of course, if it's 15 hours and they're like totally disregarding the single player side of things and just focusing all of their energy, all of their effort into online, see, that's another complaint that I didn't think about. Maybe it's a scenario where it launches, it's polished as fuck, it's a great video game, like it plays so damn well, and the story that we get is so damn strong, but there's just not much of it because it actually does launch day and date with online, and all the attention, all the focus, all the care and effort went into online, and you get like a 15-16 hour main story. And are people going to be pissed off about that, about having a 15-16 hour main story and all of the attention and effort going into online? I mean, to be completely transparent, that would piss me off quite a bit as like I've been here since 2001 playing these damn games, and now we're kind of the old guard where we're getting pushed out into our retirement homes. A single player enjoyers are getting pushed out in favor of the new kids on the block who are spending all of that damn, or who are making the pockets fatter with the shark cards as we just sit there and play through our single player story modes. And of course, like from a business standpoint, I understand why the online is going to be top priority. Of course, that makes sense. But I mean, the single player stuff, that's what got you to the dance, because even back in the PS2 era, these were always the best selling video games of all of those different console generations. GTA 4 for the 360 PS3, Vice City San Andreas 3 for the PS2, and those were single player games. I mean, I guess you had bits of multiplayer elements in like San Andreas, and I understand that, but primarily those games were single player games first, and were still all-time bestsellers. So you don't want to forget what brought you to the dance, but I could see that being a big complaint. Honestly, another thing that I could see is just like, my bad. Damn, my throat. Can't get my scratchy ass throat. Another complaint I could see is that people being like, dude, we waited over a decade and it's kind of the same game. Like, I think that expectations are so high that if there's not something that is massively innovative, which I guess we can kind of tie that right into the next one, I think that people will be very upset if there's not a key feature that we can look at and go, okay, well, that is what, you spent all the time, attention to detail, all the money on making something that is truly groundbreaking and never seen before. But I think overall, let's leave it with online, because I think that's kind of all encompassing of the complaints that we just mentioned there. I think all of that can get traced back to online. It could be a scenario of literally even the last thing of, well, where's the innovation? Where are the new gameplay mechanics? And they're like, well, fuck that. We're going to focus all of our attention and effort onto just this online functionality and making that as high quality as humanly possible, which, kind of back to it is that could be the innovation as well. With everything, they're investing so much into the role playing, aspect of GTA Online. You see here, in August 2023, Rockstar acquired CFX.RE, the company behind the popular modding platforms 5M and RedM, which allow for role-playing in Grand Theft Auto 5 and Red Dead Redemption 2. Rockstar stated the acquisition was to support the community and improve the platforms, though it also raises questions about the future of server monetization and potential change. So anywho, they've been investing heavily in the role-playing community and making sure that is as fleshed out as humanly possible for when GTA 6 launches. So I think if we're being completely honest with ourselves, unfortunately, probably the most innovative thing about Grand Theft Auto 6 is going to come from some form or function of online, rather it be through RP, rather it be through, well, it's the innovation in this game is going to come through the online, I'm almost certain. But I don't want to talk about that because I really don't give a fuck about online. Let's think about what could be the innovative feature, the big seller for the single player community to get us in the door. I'm going to go with, I'm just going to put down melee combat. That's the one area that I think we are so behind on in just video games in general. You kind of have an expectation for melee combat in every video game. Like, it's going to be one of two options. If you're rolling around on the ground in your kind of soul style combat, and if you're not doing that, you're in your hand-to-hand flow-based Arkham style combat. Like those two, Demon Souls, and it's kind of crazy. Demon Souls in, what was that, 2009? And then Arkham Asylum, did both of those games come out in 2009? Dude, this is fucking crazy. Check this out. Arkham Asylum, August 25th, 2009. Demon Souls, February 5th, 2009. These games both came out in 2009. The two games that are responsible for, absolutely without a doubt, these are the template. These two games are the template for which 99.9% of melee combat is based around, and both of these games came out in 2009. That is kind of fucking crazy. I actually think Red Dead 2 is a little bit underrated in terms of the melee combat, and I would just love to see an evolution of some of these systems where this is from Brother Frank, the YouTube channel, and they have a guide talking about 10 advanced moves that no one taught you in Red Dead Redemption 2, and like a lot of this shit is really fucking cool. Being able to throw people through windows, or right here, just grabbing an enemy and just tossing that motherfucker. And right here, just like slamming an NPC, picking them up and slamming them back down. A lot of these little features in the melee combat with Red Dead 2 kind of get slept on. But to me, this next one, this is really the one. Like being able to spear an NPC, being able to tackle them, drag them to the ground, and having a just slightly more dynamic, more fleshed out, having takedowns and being able to grapple and Muay Thai clinching motherfuckers, just shit like that would go a long way for evolving melee combat mechanics in video games in general. Because it is kind of surprising to me, kind of shocking to me that 2009, the two games from 2009, Arkham Asylum and Demon Souls, that still is the template for what all melee combat is based on. And I shouldn't say all, but most melee combat-centric games are based around those two games, either rolling around on the ground and then slow methodical combat, or the flow state from Arkham. And two great templates, but I feel like we can evolve past that as well. So that's maybe more so a hope than an expectation, but I do think that would be the one area where real innovation can take place. Like, I don't think you're going to be able to innovate greatly upon third-person shooting. Like, third-person shooting is what third-person shooting is. And I do think that, this game will be incredibly fleshed out with activities and like new shit in that department, which I guess you can maybe call that innovative. Like, I do think you'll probably be able to go surfing, and I do think there will be incredibly dynamic weather effects, which have been in other games before. I'm not saying that's incredibly innovative for GTA 6 in particular, depending on to the degree, and like if you're having full blown hurricanes and tornadoes ravaging through towns, and like you go back to the town and you actually see the effects of these storms and tornadoes, and like you're able to see a gas station that is no longer there and it's just debris scattered across an entire city, like shit like that would be very impressive. Am I expecting that? Not really. When you look at something like Just Cause 4, the tornadoes were a cool idea, but in terms of practical use in game or actually seeing real effects take place that were mind blowing, not so much. So I'm not quite expecting that, but yeah, I think you'll be able to probably go and pick up like have a 3-on-3 pickup game of basketball, and go and you'll be doing weightlifting again like you did in San Andreas. But I don't necessarily think about those things as innovative per se. I'm trying to think of like what is the key thing from this game that we'll take away where it's like, oh, before and after. You know what I mean? Like there was combat before Arkham Asylum, and then there was combat after Arkham Asylum. There was combat before Demon Souls, and then there was combat after Demon Souls. Like what is going to be the thing that could potentially change the industry? So yeah, for that, I'm going to say melee combat. I think they're gonna really tinker with that and come up with something super fucking impressive. But obviously the real innovation will take place on the online front, unfortunately. Story predictions. Let's talk about the story. This is the one area, like I'm seeing a lot of people say that Jason is going to be a cop, which totally I 100% can understand that logic. Jason gives off some cop vibes, but I don't know, man. I just think that's so obvious. I think if they kill off, if they that kind of gets to what I'm really thinking about more so here. I think if they make Jason if it's the obvious thing that we're all predicting, that would be a little bit disappointing. If he's a cop working undercover and she is being used, and like I don't think that's the path that they're going to go down. I really think that if kind of the course that they're already charting makes the most sense of just, I don't necessarily think you need to do anything overly, just telling a great Bonnie and Clyde love story. Like that's never been done. And maybe that's the thing for innovation, is we've never really seen a great love story in games where like that's the main hook of the entire story. Is it's straight up Bonnie and Clyde ride until the wheels fall off. I think that would kind of be the best path forward for the story, to not do this bait and switch or to not try to shock us too much, of just having a straight up great love story. I think not shocking the player and not trying to find the unpredictable twist, I think that might actually be the unpredictable twist of just being like, yeah, it's just a really fucking solid, well-told love story. And I think that the most likely path, kind of tying back to, I spoiled my entire thought a second ago, where I think that one of them will likely get killed off, and then maybe it becomes the thing of Lucia gets killed off, Jason gets killed off, and then the other is on a full-blown revenge path and loses their mind for a little bit, like maybe 17, 18 hours into the game, one of them dies off, and then you play as the other protagonist, and it's full blown, like you're just in rage mode, just going absolutely fucking nuts trying to extract revenge. So I think that could be the angle, or maybe, I guess, spoilers for other Grand Theft Auto games, so skip ahead, but I don't think they've ever killed off a main protagonist, at least not since Grand Theft Auto 3. So maybe could it be a scenario where both of them die? Or, I mean, even killing off one of them would be more unexpected. Well, GTA 5, you have the option of killing off, as Franklin, killing off either Trevor or Michael, or not doing it. So, I mean, you do have that angle, and maybe they do introduce more branching storytelling possibilities here where I kind of doubt it though. They really like telling a linear in terms of the narrative, the direction. They really like having a directed, curated kind of experience that the player is going down for the story. So I don't think they're gonna offer a bunch of like branching possibilities. I'd be so down to see it. I fucking love that shit in all games. But if they have a specific story that they want to tell, I think that they should tell it. So I mean, I guess to jot down my story predictions, I'm going to say Jason, not cop. That's going to be my fucking caveman response. I think it's just a good love story. I think would be my overall takeaway. Maybe once again, could that be a bit of a hope? Possibly, but I don't think they need to do too much to shock us, and I don't really think they will, other than one of them dying, which I don't think that will be overly shocking, but I'd be down for a story like that. And so the next thing that we have on the board is GOTY ? Yeah, so let's look at what else is even coming out in 2026. So Resident Evil 9, no chance that beats GTA 6. 007 First Light, I'm extremely excited for that, but probably not. Neo 3, Sorrows, no. Fable, no. Duskbloods, I mean, FromSoft is dropping in 2026. Anytime FromSoft is dropping, you got to kind of be a bit weary. Wolverine, probably not. Crimson Desert is one of those games that is either going to be fucking phenomenal or completely borked. Like, I think that thing could launch at 2 frames a second and be unplayable, but I've also heard a few people be like, yeah, it's not like God tier who have went hands-on with it, so we'll see. I'm so damn excited for Crimson Desert, but just looking through this, I don't really see anything coming out that I think will be competitive with GTA 6 for 2026. Like, I don't think any of the big games that are launching will be competitive with it. Although, I mean, that's the thing about Game of the Year. You know, it's like, who expected Balatro, or who expected Astrobot, or who expected, pick any random game that comes out of nowhere. It's announced in May, releases in June, and it's like, oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah, this thing is a smash hit. A lot of indie games are in that space. I'm sure there will be some PC game that's a deck building roguelike that gets a 97, like a Blueprint style out of nowhere sensation hit that we're not expecting. But as it's currently constructed, as we're looking through the list of games releasing in 2026, I'd be hard-pressed to see any of these games taking out GTA 6, unless GTA 6 takes out GTA 6 and it gets pushed to 2027. I think that would be the most likely scenario here. But, GOTY, let's go ahead and lock in yes. But with the caveat, the massive, massive asterisk beside it stating I would not be surprised if there's some PC roguelike deck building thing that comes out of nowhere, and it's the new takeover craze that Balatro hit upon, or that Slay the Spire hit upon, or what is it, Mega Bonk this year, and Ball Pit, and then something in that territory that just takes the entire world over, and then it ends up winning Game of the Year. I would not be surprised in the slightest. But these are the official GTA 6, the final predictions for the biggest video game launch in the history of humanity that hopefully, possibly, maybe will be taking place in 6 months. Based on my predictions, I'm saying it will take place in 6 months. So hit me up in the comments down below with your predictions for the old 6, the old auto. How are you feeling? If you want to list out these categories and feature your predictions for each of them, I would love to read that in the comments. I always try to get back with everybody, and shoot the shit with y'all about what you think regarding these topics. So let me know in the comments down below, and I shall see you in the next video. Take it easy, guys. Goodbye.